First Chronicles Study Guide Discussion Questions Day 2. First Chronicles retells Israel's history with a focus on God's covenant faithfulness, David's legacy, and the central importance of worship and the temple, especially for a people rebuilding identity after exile. Why was genealogies important in studying Israel's identity? They established who Israel is and where they come from. They served several purposes. They preserve tribal identity after exile. They show continuality of God's covenant promises. They reconnect the people to Abraham, David, and the priesthood. And they reinforce that Israel is not forgotten even after judgment. They are not just lists, they are documentation, declaration. God's people still have a history, purpose, and a future. Why does this book focus more on David's strengths than his failures? First Chronicles intentionally highlights David's positive legacy because its purpose is restoration, not correction. Unlike Saul and Kings, it emphasizes David as an ideal king, focuses on his worship, his leadership, and his preparation for the temple. It minimizes moral failures already recorded elsewhere. This shift teaches that God restores identity by reminding his people of his purpose, not only their past failures. What role did worship play in Israel's national life? Worship was the center of national identity and unity. In First Chronicles, Levites were organized for worship. Music and praise are structured in temple service, and worship is continuous, ordered, and national. Worship functioned as spiritual alignment with God, national unity under covenant, and daily reminder of dependence on God. A nation's health is shown through its worship life. How does preparation for the temple reflect spiritual priorities? David's preparation for the temple shows that spiritual priorities came before any personal completion. Even though David would not build it, he collected materials. He organized the Levites and priests. He planned the worship systems. He prepared Solomon to complete the work. This shows that God's work is generational, not individual. Preparation is as valuable as completion, and worship is more important than personal legacy. Why would this book be important after exile? After exile, Israel needed identity restoration, spiritual encouragement, and national hope. First Chronicles answers that by reconnecting them to their roots, showing God's continual covenant faithfulness, centering them again on worship and the temple, and reminding them they are still God's people. It is essentially a book of renewed identity after broken history. What does the Chronicle emphasize about leadership? Leadership is defined by worship alignment and covenant faithfulness, not just political success. How does David's role in worship shape kinship? A true king leads spiritually first. David models worship-centered leadership. What does the organization of priest and Levite show? God values order, structure, and continuality in worship and not randomness or neglect. How does First Chronicles reinterpret Israel's history? It reframes history to emphasize hope, restoration, and God's enduring promises rather than national failure. The summary insight: First Chronicle teaches that identity is restored through worship, covenant memory, and God-centered leadership, especially for a people rebuilding after judgment.